Was it love at first sight? I think it was, because there's 8 years difference to us. I'm older than Nick. Being in love before, being in love again, it's like, are we looking for this? Is this exactly what I want?
The wedding day for me was absolutely terrible. It was probably the worst day of my life. No, it wasn't. It was superb.
The weather, although it was slightly damp, didn't deter the fact of the most special day for Nicola and Craig. It really was perfect.
So we get ready and thought, all right, well, that's a boy ready. It took 15 minutes. So we went for a walk through Bellagio. Now, Bellagio's 4 minutes from one end to the other, and the Italians really get into it. So next minute they see these 2 guys, I'm like hoping they don't think I'm marrying AJ. It would have been a bit interesting.
I was out with some friends that I've worked with. I'd worked with them for about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'd been travelling to Australia, so when I came back, it was like an excuse really to catch up with old work friends. So yeah, I think on the night there was about 15 of us that I'd known for 3 or 4 years. And what I didn't know, that a couple of them, again through work, actually knew Craig.
Yeah, so it was one of my clients that were there, and basically I was going back and forth to Australia for work. Come out and the guy goes, we're going to this party, and you're like, oh, okay, we'll go to the party, see how we go. And literally bumped into you and saw you across the room. It's so corny, isn't it? Saw you across the room and went, yep, okay, I'm gonna go talk to this person. You're at the bar, went up and started chatting to you, and you know, it just sprung on from there.
I first met Craig at a mutual friend's wedding. He and Nicola got out a cab, and I thought, oh, Nicola's new man.
I first met Craig in Australia back in, must have been 2003, yeah, probably. Craig worked in our Sydney office, and I was posted over there to pick up some work out there, and being a kind of a lonesome pom washed up on the shores of Sydney, Craig took me out and showed me the sights and got me into all kinds of trouble.
For me, when I first saw him, I know, again, it sounds really cheesy, but kind of my heart did skip a little beat, and I thought, you know, I really, really like this guy. Again, you know, physical attraction, he had everything that I look for, and the smile was the first thing that really attracted me to Craig. You know, he's got a really friendly face.
When I first met Craig, I thought, oh, what fun, you know, typical Aussie guy. Nicola's really landed on her feet here. She's going to have a laugh a minute. He was really, really fun guy.
Although I said to myself, yeah, I think I am falling for this guy, it took a while for me to actually show that to somebody else, because obviously I needed to build up trust and make sure with Craig that he was the one before I actually showed that.
Was it love at first sight? I think it was, because there's 8 years difference to us. I'm older than Nick, and being in love before, being in love again, it's like, are we looking for this? Is this exactly what I want? The second I saw her, I knew it. And to this day, it was, the second I saw her walking towards me, it is the kind of the slow motion action coming towards us.
What you see in the movie.
This is different. This is not someone you're just going to have a drink with and chill out and do it. This is a person that you actually want to spend quality time with. It's such a beautiful air around here, isn't it? Kind of very similar to Downey Kent.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you just flew into my head.
I know it did. It's such a large head.
My first thoughts about Nikki were, what a crazy girl. Seriously, she was mad as a cut snake. She turned up at this bar and was just, you know, just all over the place. It was fantastic.
But without kind of meaning to, it was a bit of a test, because obviously, you know, I'm not the most punctual person. I do run late. So I guess it was a test to say, okay, is this guy, you know, for me, can he put up with me being late? And you know, he wasn't angry that I was late, kind of just took it in his stride. And that kind of told me a lot straight away about his character. It's like, okay, you know, he doesn't get stressed easily, he doesn't get angry, you know, he was willing to wait around, so. I
thought this could well be the one for Craig when I met her. You know, they're so alike in the same ways, you know, it's, you know, Craig is a unique individual with a crazy head on his shoulders, and I thought they were pretty well matched. I
couldn't believe how compatible they were to each other. They looked really, really in touch with each other, really, really happy to be with each other, really, really relaxed, and it was great to see Nicola in love with somebody, you know, and be really, really happy.
introduced Craig to my parents, it was quite a comical moment. I'm very, very close to my mum. She's my best friend. So for me, it's very important that whenever I meet someone, it basically gets mum's approval. So I didn't want to scare Craig by saying, right, you're meeting my mum and dad on the first week. It just so happened that my friend was getting married in Kent. The first week we'd been going out. So I said to him, look, I'd like to invite you to this wedding, but it's in Kent, it's meeting all my friends. Would involve meeting my mum and dad, are you up for it? And Craig being Craig was like, yeah, sure. So I took him down there. I said to mum, okay, I'd like you to meet Craig. We're just going to go for a coffee. And she was like, oh, okay.
What did you do to your dad?
Is Dad going to come along? And I said, no, I don't want to scare Craig just yet. There's no need to meet both Mum and Dad. So I said, just you. So we met in a hotel, lovely coffee bar, and Mum comes walking in and she said, oh, your dad's outside. And I said, why is Dad outside? She said, oh, because, he had to drive me down here, so he's just waiting in the car. And then you turned around and said, well, he can't be sitting outside. Why not bring him in? So I popped off to go to the bathroom and I came back and there's Craig, my mum and my dad. And I thought, oh God, I'm so sorry. Craig actually proposed on our anniversary. We met August the 14th, 2005.
Good memory.
And you proposed on the August the 14th, 2007. So exactly 2 years later. You took me out to Lake Como as a surprise. I had a bit of a feeling that the proposal was coming just because I dragged him to a few jewellers before we went.
Slightly urging me in the right direction.
I found out about the engagement when Craig called me, and I was over the moon because I had just won a £10 bet from another friend of mine about whether he was going to pop the question or not.
We got there and it was a festival in Lake Como, so they were celebrating, there was fireworks going off, and a company had actually laid on lots of events throughout the week. So this particular evening, I think it was a Saturday evening, we went on a boat cruise around Lake Como, lovely boat, champagne, dinner, dancing, and then at midnight he took me out for a little walk to the back of the boat and saying how much he loved me and looking at the stars, very corny.
Nicola sent me a text when they got engaged, and when we all replied back hurriedly, saying, passing on our congratulations.
I was bricking it. The reason I was bricking it is that Nicola's quite clumsy. So if you startle her, things will happen in the wrong way. So there's me behind her kind of in the Titanic moment. And I'm trying to get this ring out of my pocket and I'm fiddling around. I'm trying to be all cool and calm. There's fireworks and all that sort of stuff. So I brought her around beside her and I'm going, any second she's going to panic, hit the hand and the ring's going to go overboard. So I'm there going, oh, please, God, just let it be okay once. And she's going, I open it up. She goes, what's that? I'm like, will you marry me?
Because it was dark and I knew what was going on, but I thought I'd be a bit difficult.
That's it. And I put the ring up. I go, will you marry me? And she's like, get on one knee. I go, I can't. I'm on a boat. So she said, yes, absolutely. I will.
But then when we came home, I made a big thing about that. He hadn't proposed, the right way because he should have got down on one knee.
You're very traditional.
Yeah. So we came to this lovely park, which is actually where we had a picnic when we first met. So this park's, it's got quite special memories for us. So again, had the champagne picnic, and he actually got down on one knee and proposed here. So he did it correctly.
Finally.
So this is where you proposed to me the second time.
Well, it does take me back. I remember I was in Como, then you wanted the traditional thing of being on one knee. I remember that. We had a picnic here.
Just here,
That was awesome. And I turned you around and says, oh, Nick, please marry me. Luckily, well, you said yes the first time, so I know it was a bit in the bag. It was kind of a no-brainer, but it's gorgeous. So, seeing that we'd always gone out to Italy a lot of the times, we tried to figure out what we wanted to do. Now, we did plan, there's a really old, rustic Italian restaurant in the middle of nowhere, and we were staying down the bottom in a Como, so it was 40 minutes up or 40 minutes back, and it's only by boat in Italy. So we went, okay, we'll go to the restaurant, we'll be great, I'll bang the question, it'll be perfect. Then there's this boat cruise, and there was basically it's like a Guy Fawkes celebration, so it's fireworks. I'm thinking, all right, get some gravy here, I'll do the big fireworks instead of just the dinner. So we planned it, and we sat on this boat for about an hour and a half going up this, all the way up. It's like, how big's this lake? So I'm trying to think in my head, when am I going to get the right time? When's it going to happen? When am I going to stop? Are we going to stop? Are we coming back? So the dinner was a very regimental way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we done it the way we did.
Yeah.
Because it was very spontaneous and it worked a lot better.
And it caught me off guard because I was like, okay, well, if he is doing it tonight, you know, he would have done it through dinner. And he did it literally at the end of the boat cruise. So in a way, although I was kind of expecting it, it was a bit of a surprise.
It wasn't a shock that they got engaged. We were kind of all hoping that this was going to be the holiday to secure their wedding.
Do you fancy cappuccino?
Yeah, lovely. I love this place. Reminds me of when we're in Italy and being on holiday.
All right, we'll grab a bite to eat as well if you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Look,
This is new. What have I got now?
so maybe get something for dinner tonight.
Get some pasta.
Lovely pasta.
I love this place, it's gorgeous. We decided the wedding take place basically on site, weren't we? We went out to a company called IAC Bellagio who do event coordination, and bless the bits, we went out there and we looked at these 3 properties, and the first property was basically, it was a dining room in a way. Then we ended up getting to the final place that you'll see in the wedding. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's it's Villa.
Villa Balbinello, where Star Wars and Casino Royale was filmed.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we're out there and we've got the wedding planner with us, and my favourite number's 5, Nick's is 9, and we're sitting there, well, we're not going to get married on the 9th of April. So we've got this Italian wedding planner sitting there going, well, when do you want me to book this for you? And I go, all right, 5th of September.
And we were there in August, so we thought, well, we know it's about 12 months to plan a wedding. So we originally said, well, we'll just do it in August. So she said, no, give it some more thought, a special date. So she said, what's your lucky numbers? We said 5 and 9. That turned out to be 5th of September, which was perfect because it was literally a year, to give us to plan it.
To the date, so we just locked it in straight away, and she's looking at us like, okay, are you sure? I was like, yeah, we'll do it that day. And she's like, all right then, so locked it in, that was it.
So my dress, I actually went to the National Wedding Show at, I think it was Earl's Court with my mum, about a year before the wedding. And I'd been looking obviously in magazines beforehand, thinking what kind of style I was going to go for. The style I originally thought I was going to go for obviously was, a corset top, traditional cut along here, very plain bottom, diamond white. I always thought, I wanted pure white. As I said, I'm very girly, I like everything sparkly, so I knew that the top bit, I always wanted it very sparkly. As it turned out, I ended up something with completely different than what I ever thought I would, and they always say you end up with something completely different. So at the National Wedding Show, I saw this dress, and a girl was actually modelling it, and I saw it from about 3 foot away, and it was just really sparkly. The whole top part was just covered with crystals. And it was a champagne ivory colour, and the bottom wasn't straight what I thought I would ever go for. It was very ruffled, yeah. So I was such a daze that I actually left and I didn't write down the name of the designer. So I called up the organiser afterwards and I've explained the dress, and they said, oh, that's the one you're talking about. It's couture, it was made in Israel, and each dress takes 100 man-hours. So Mum and I had a laugh and a joke that, trust me to pick this wow dress. So we tracked down a shop in Thurrock that did the dress, and I went, and it was actually the first dress that I put on. It was the one that I wanted.
Nick being Nick, she had a theme. She had dark chocolate and pink. Me being a groom, I had no thoughts on that. But we actually got the most amazing service because we were running around doing so much that there's a thing called Formally Yours. What you do, well, you got on, Nick went on and basically picked everything she wanted online, put into the suit colours, the suit sizes, and what they do, the issue we had is that we're going overseas. Now we went to High Street and asked them, we need to take the suits overseas. I got the most ridiculed people in the world. You're going to have to spend a ransom to get these things overseas. Insurance, make sure they come back, what have you. This company was amazing. They gave it to us a week before the wedding. We all fitted on. If there was any issues, you'd get the replacement straight away the next day. We took the suits overseas, no worries, brought them all back, packed up and delivered to them. And it was the most seamless way to do it, wasn't it? And they all fit perfectly. Unfortunately, I was bright white, and the European sizes, we'll say, were a little bit too large. But yeah, they were absolutely fantastic. I was in white with pink, and the boys were in chocolate brown with the pink in there as well to complement it all. So I'm happy with what we had. It was absolutely fantastic. But the suits, superb, very easy, it was not stressful at all. And everything came back and there's no deposits or anything, it was brilliant.
Where we kind of expected problems and where they did occur a little bit was just obviously trying to get 40 people out to another country.
Yeah.
So to get over that, what we did was we did welcome packs for everyone. So from the moment they arrive at their hotel, there was a welcome pack saying, you know, this is where we're staying, these are our contact numbers, we did actually a plan of the day, so people knew what to expect, because I know when we've been to weddings before, you don't know what time you're going to eat, where meeting points are, what time it finishes, so we literally did a timetable, but without obviously being too clinical, because we didn't want people knowing exactly what was going to be happening.
It was regimental, but you needed to be that way because there's so many people just walking around, they're confused of where they wanted to go. So we put together a website as well, and people could log on and actually see where to go, what to do, and we gave them videos of where they're going to go to, and information on the boat system, because we had your nieces out there, and they'd never been on a boat before. Now we take for granted being on boats, and we put them on a boat to go over to the church, and their eyes were like saucers. It's like, what is this? Because they come from Harrow, they haven't seen lakes, they don't know what it's all about. So the drama coming up to it is basically getting the people out there. Oh,
one thing that did happen was my bridesmaids, I had my two youngest cousins, and then my chief bridesmaid was actually my other cousin who's a twin. So I was going to really have two chief bridesmaids who they're the same age as me. But one of them, her name is Jo, she got pregnant 9 months ago. So when she told me she was pregnant, I was really, really happy for her. But we fast forward and we worked out that she was actually going to have the baby the month before the wedding. So, you know, we said, look, we could totally understand if you want to drop out of being a bridesmaid. And it was just really unfortunate that down to the last minute she had to drop out. So I guess that it was a shame. You know, couldn't have obviously her there as a chief bridesmaid, but she was there in spirit, planning the wedding. We didn't have a lot of time. Craig's working hours as well. We didn't have a lot of time together. And the beautiful thing about what Rumour did is we sent them a photograph of my engagement ring and said to them, you know, it has to be the same metal, we want the same kind of diamonds, this is our budget. And within a week they came back with some sketches and some 3D images, and I said, yeah, that's what I wanted. So they were great, you know, they made it within 2 weeks. So that was my ring. You didn't want one, did you?
Well, my ring, we got mine from Rome. We were just banging around, and quite a funny story. I won't put you long.
Engagement ring.
That's the engagement ring. Nicola actually bought me a ring in Rome, and we lived in a penthouse in Putney for a while. And I was on the balcony wiping my shoes and knocked the ring off, and it went over, and we lost it forever. So I'm sitting there going, well, that was the ring I was going to get married with. So we're back out in Rome a couple of months later, and she goes, right, that's the one you're going to buy. So quite simply, it took me 5 seconds because you just pick that one out and says, that's it. And it fits perfectly and it does well.
So he said, there's no point me getting another one. I want to stick with this ring, which was his engagement ring. So that was what you had.
That was simple.
I actually chose the ring, and Craig knows me very well and knows that to leave the choice of rings to him would have been a very dangerous decision.
Yes.
I always wanted something, I wanted platinum. I wear a lot of silver and white gold, so I knew the colour. I'm a very, very girly girl, so I loved anything sparkly, so I knew that it had to be very big, very sparkly. I didn't want the traditional solitaire diamond. I wanted something a bit different, a bit unique. So we went shopping, we looked in a lot of jewellers, and we went to Swag, which was up at Bluewater near where we live. And instantly I just saw it. I mean, it's a marquee shape.